Hi everyone, I'm Adam Voigt. I cannot wait, I'm really pumped to come along next Friday on the 22nd of November and deliver a keynote at the Binnacle Vet Schools Conference. My keynote is going to be all around how it is that we can build a really strong, a really relational, a really accountable and supportive culture around every single school that all of you work in. That's a big thing to talk about, so we've got to break it down a little bit. And the first thing we do is we look at the three key stakeholders within that culture. We look at our teachers and say, well, how it is that we can build an army, a cohort of committed teachers in your school. Now that's dangerous for me to come along and speak to a room full of educators and say, yeah, now I'd like to talk about your commitment. The reason I talk about it is that I think we keep measuring commitment with the wrong rulers. We keep using time and effort, and it's not necessarily the most successful teachers or the schools with the most successful teachers are not necessarily the ones that work the hardest or the longest. I, in fact, already think you're probably already doing that. I think that our job is to measure commitment in an entirely different way. I'm going to show you what that way is. In the second section of my keynote, I'm going to talk a little bit about caring students. And for me, that's about elevating amongst our young people empathy levels. I think that when I speak to educators, I get a hunch from them, or they have a hunch, that young people are perhaps a little less inclined these days to think about people outside themselves, to know how their behaviour impacts other people, and then to care enough to do something about that if they were to choose the wrong behaviour. We're going to show you how it is that you can start to just polish your empathy or ramp up the empathy levels in young people so that they're more capable of being successful team members down the track. And then finally, we're going to talk about connected communities around our schools, how it is that we can move our parents from potentially at times being anchors on what we're trying to achieve across to being genuine supporters, genuinely actually trying to, put a little bit of wind in your sails and help you move forward in your really important work. So that's what my keynote's going to touch on. And then I'm going to run a workshop around understanding student behaviour. There's an interesting topic, isn't it? Let me give you one snippet of that. What we're going to do is unravel a myth that you can change behaviour. And what we are going to do is acknowledge and understand that it's actually the thinking behind the behaviour that changes it. You see, no behaviour changes randomly or accidentally out of the blue, and I can prove it to you right now. Not one person watching this video woke up accidentally this morning on a diet. You just wouldn't do that. You just wouldn't eat half a grapefruit accidentally because they're quite disgusting, or to me anyway. You've got to think about that first. And if that stands to reason, then our job is to generate as much positive thought such that we might get some positive behaviour afterwards, rather than negative thought, which sometimes leads to negative behaviour choices afterwards, and then we're on a spiral. How can we get that spiral moving upwards? That's going to be the gist of what that presentation around student behaviour is all about. I can't wait to meet you all. I think that it's going to be an awesome event in Brisbane, and so I guess I'll see you then.